Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending where and when you are joining us right now. And welcome to the final live stream this week by Decrypting Crypto and Breakout Solutions. My name is Wasim, coming to you today with the latest news highlights, Twitter highlights, and adoption highlights. So, being a long weekend, I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible because I know that people have other things that they wanted to do, including myself. I'm going to have dinner with my family tonight. So I'm going to keep this as short as possible so I can get out of here and get to dinner with my family. So let's get started, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. First up, we have the latest Bitcoin price prediction, which is suggesting that Bitcoin will reach over $200,000 in 2025. Now, this is based on historical data and looking at when the Bitcoin halving happens. So, as you guys know, we've been saying that the Bitcoin halving is about 12 months away. So, this time next year, either end of March, early April next year, we're going to have the Bitcoin halving. Now, when we have the Bitcoin halving, then that would mean that there will be less Bitcoin being produced per block, therefore reducing the supply, increasing the demand, and having a price shock. And historically speaking, Bitcoin has peaked between 368 days and 550 days from the halving, and then has bottomed 779 to 919 days post halving. So this is the Bitcoin bull and bear cycle. So next time you see this, or when we say to you guys, this is the year to be accumulating, we really mean it, because right now you're going to be accumulating, getting ready for this bull run that's going to start happening in the next 18 or 12 to 24 months. And then that's where a lot of people are going to be making money. Now, this also started because there was a lot of discussion on Twitter, which I think I've spoken to you guys about previously, with Balaji putting out $1 million prediction for Bitcoin in 90 days. Now, that's coming up in about 2 months. So I think it's like the 1st of June or something like that. So about 2 months from now, early June, where this will happen. So that bet is still going. I'm still in the boat that don't believe that Bitcoin will reach $1 million in the next 90 days. It would be good if it was true, but it also be pretty bad because that would mean we have hyperinflation. So it wouldn't be that Bitcoin has reached not $1 million. It would actually mean that the US dollar has collapsed so much that Bitcoin is now valued at $1 million. So we want to get to $1 million, just not as fast as what some people would like us to get to. Next up, we've got the Bitcoin white paper has been discovered in every Apple computer. So this was discovered recently when a guy on Twitter, and his name is what's his name? Andy Bay. I can't say that. Bayo. He was looking for. He was trying to fix his printer and to scan the document, and accidentally came across that the Bitcoin white paper is actually stored on every single on his computer, first of all, and then this got around on Twitter, and then everyone's now putting in looking up this particular what do you call it? This particular folder, or this particular drive, or directory, I should say, where they are finding the Bitcoin white paper. So if you do have a Mac, I'm not a Mac, I use real computers, but if you are using a Mac, go to Systems Library / Image Capture / Devices, and you should be able to find a document called what's it called? They call it. It's actually not called. It's not called Bitcoin white paper. It's called something else. Oh God, I will find it for you. Oh, I could find it. So it's called. The white paper was called. I don't know, but look in there. You can be able to find it. There will be a PDF that you can find. Actually, if I look here, PDF. Yeah, Simple Doc. That's right. It's called Simple Doc. So if you go to this directory, find Simple Doc, open it, and there you will find the Bitcoin white paper. So now this is causing a bit of havoc around the Twitter war. Why is it there? What's Apple trying to tell us? Is there a secret Bitcoin maxi in Apple that's put it in there? Who's an Apple developer? What's going on? So there's a lot of questions happening. A little bit of a fun fact, but if you do have an Apple computer, go out there and find that. All right, moving on. Let's look at the market highlights. And I forgot to do all the banners today, so let's do that. Let's do market update. So over the past week, we've seen Engine going up 26%, ENG up, ING and ENG up by 26 and 19%. Hex is down 25%. There's a lot of Hex people out there that have been saying, look, Hex is going up, Hex is going up. I'm not invested in Hex. I'm actually not invested in most of these at the moment. What else do we have? Obviously, other than Bitcoin, Bitcoin's my biggest holding and the one that I keep dollar cost averaging in. Okay, Bitcoin hasn't been doing much this past week, actually. It's been kind of been flat, push over that 28,000, try to push that 29, keeps getting rejected. If this thing decides to load up, you'll be able to see that I think it's just under 28,000 right now. Come on, load up for me. Nope, doesn't want to work. But Bitcoin is just under 28,000. I think it's like $28,997 when I looked at it last. So it's trying to push over that 30,000. Trying to push. There it is, $27,970. So it's down to about 0.37% in the past 24 hours. It's hovering around that $28,000 mark, trying to see what it wants to do. So interesting times ahead. And we are still in the greed. So 64 out of 100 on the fear and greed index, up from 63 yesterday and 63 last week, and from a 15 neutral. So this has been quite a good year for crypto. A lot of people are coming back in, and we're going to have a massive year next year. Moving over to the Twitter highlights, guys. We've got President Bukele has linked his country's growing economy with making Bitcoin legal tender in 2021, Financial Times. So according to the Financial Times, they're saying that President Bukele is linking that the country's economy is due to Bitcoin. Now, we also know that he has done so much work, and Bitcoin has helped. He's been buying a Bitcoin a day since the FTX crash. Because of so many things that have happened. Like on top of that, he's cleaned up the country 360 something days without homicide. And on top of that, because of this, also, as I've showed you guys before, zero tax on text innovation. But now the Biden and his cronies are actually sanctioning El Salvadorian officials because of their crackdown on gangs. Now, imagine you had a country where there's a gang with 64,000 people, and 1% of the population was in one single gang, terrorizing, paying extortion, killing, murdering, raping, forcing women to prostitution. This man comes in and cleans it up, and now he's being sanctioned. So, where is the real democracy? And obviously, El Salvador's president wasn't, he hasn't been very kind to the US either. He said, think about it. What would happen? Think what you want about former President Trump and the reason he's being indicted. But just imagine if this happened in any other country where a government arrests the main opposition's candidate. The United States' ability to use democracy as a foreign policy is gone. So this is actually, very, very big news. Like a lot of things happening in America that's going downhill. And moving on with our Twitter highlights, we've got here from Glassnode Alerts, which have said that the number of addresses holding one Bitcoin or more is has reached an all-time high of 993,224. Reaching almost a million. So we're getting close to that million people holding one Bitcoin or more. Now, you've got to remember, guys, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Now, if every single person starts to hold one Bitcoin, 1 million Bitcoin for each person, there's only 21 million people in the world that will ever be able to hold a Bitcoin. But we've got people like, we're going to talk about this, like MicroStrategy buying heaps. So the amount of Bitcoin available for us to buy is getting less and less and less. So, you really want to start putting some sats into some of your, stacking some sats. All right, and moving over, Peru considering CBDC to improve payments. So now we're moving over to adoption highlight. this is such good news. We've got countries again looking at CBDCs to improve their payment system. They're talking about here, this is obviously coming in from the IMF, and we all know that the IMF is the enemy of crypto, it's the enemy of Bitcoin. They don't want to see decentralized network. They don't want to see decentralized payment. They want to see, or currency, they want to have control over everything that's everyone doing. So here they're saying that Peru has a high number of people that are unbanked, almost 50% of the population, and 80% of those are non-poor. So they're working, they're living in suburbia, they're living in urban areas, and they're happy. Like they're not poor, they're not rich. They're average people, but they're unbanked when they have no savings because of the infrastructure. So now they're trying to use CBDCs to provide a solution. But the reality is the only solution to unbanking people is Bitcoin. It's decentralized. It allows people to have control over their own money without having to rely on anybody else. And last but not least, we've got MicroStrategy spends another $29 million to buy 1,049 Bitcoins. Now, remember, guys, we've got almost 1 million people holding one Bitcoin or more. You've got people like this guy, MicroStrategy, who's gone on the Bitcoin standard, and his company's gone crazy since doing so. He's buying Bitcoin all the time. He owns over 100,000 Bitcoin. I think it's like 130,000 Bitcoin right now, and he just bought another 1,045 Bitcoins. So, do what you want to do with that information. But this is the year to be accumulating, guys. As always, I'm going to keep it, like I said, I'm going to keep it short today. So that's it from me. And as always, say, stack sats and stack banks. Peace out. Have a great long weekend. And always stay crypto.